The tranquil beauty of Hawaii was shattered in the 1980s by a series of brutal murders that left the islands gripped in fear. Known as the Honolulu Strangler, Hawaii's first documented serial killer preyed on women, leaving a trail of bodies and unanswered questions. This video delves into the chilling details of the case, the investigation that ensued, and the enduring impact on the community. The victims. The Honolulu Strangler's reign of terror began in May 1985 and lasted until April 1986. During this period, 5 women were found murdered under eerily similar circumstances. The first victim was 25-year-old Vicky Purdy, a military wife who was last seen leaving a Waikiki nightclub on May 29, 1985. Her body was discovered the next day near Kihei Lagoon. She had been raped and strangled, her hands bound behind her back. The second victim, 17-year-old Regina Sakamoto, was last seen on January 14, 1986, after missing her bus to school. Her body was found a week later near Kihei Lagoon, also raped, strangled, and bound. The third victim, Denise Hughes, 21, was a secretary for a telephone company. She was last seen on January 30, 1986, and her body was discovered in Honolulu Stream 3 days later. The similarities in the manner of death and the binding of hands pointed to the work of the same killer. On March 26, 1986, 25-year-old Louise Medeiros was reported missing after a flight back from visiting her family on Kauai. Her decomposed body was found near Waikol Stream on April 2, 1986. The final victim, Linda Pesce, 36, a saleswoman, disappeared on April 29, 1986. Her body was discovered near an off-ramp of the H1 freeway on May 3, 1986, with the same modus operandi as the previous victims. The investigation. The Honolulu Police Department launched an extensive investigation into the murders. Detectives quickly realized they were dealing with a serial killer due to the consistent manner in which the victims were found. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was brought in to assist, and a task force was formed to catch the killer. The investigation faced numerous challenges. Despite the commonalities in the cases, there was a lack of physical evidence linking the crimes directly to a suspect. The killer had been meticulous, leaving behind few clues. However, police were able to gather witness accounts that described a man seen with some of the victims before their disappearances. The composite sketches based on these accounts depicted a man of average height and build, but they did not lead to any immediate arrests. Key suspect, Howard Gay. One of the main suspects in the case was a local man named Howard Gay. He came under suspicion after he voluntarily came forward with information about where one of the bodies could be found. Gay told police that a psychic had told him where the body of Linda Pesce was located. When Pesce's body was indeed found in the area Gay had described, suspicions grew. Gay matched the description of the composite sketches and had a history of sexual offenses. However, despite intense scrutiny and surveillance, the police could not gather enough evidence to charge him with the murders. They questioned him extensively and even subjected him to a polygraph test, which yielded inconclusive results. Public fear and media coverage. The Honolulu Strangler case gripped the public's attention and generated widespread fear across the islands. The media coverage was extensive, with daily updates and intense scrutiny of the police efforts. Women were particularly fearful, altering their routines and taking extra precautions to avoid becoming the next victim. The string of murders, unprecedented in Hawaii, shattered the community's sense of safety and tranquility. The press often criticized the police for their inability to apprehend the killer, and the lack of concrete leads only fueled public anxiety. The extensive media coverage also had the unintended consequence of spreading misinformation and rumors, complicating the investigation further. The stalled investigation. Despite their best efforts, the task force struggled to make significant progress. The last murder attributed to the Honolulu Strangler occurred in April 1986, and after that, the killings abruptly stopped. This led to speculation that the killer might have been arrested for another crime, left the island, or died. In the absence of new murders, the investigation lost momentum. Without definitive evidence, the case gradually went cold. Police continued to monitor known suspects and followed up on leads, but none proved fruitful. The task force was eventually disbanded, and the case files were shelved, leaving the mystery of the Honolulu Strangler unsolved. Long-term impact on the community. The legacy of the Honolulu Strangler remains a dark chapter in Hawaii's history. The murders had profound impact on the community, altering the way people viewed safety on the islands. The fear and anxiety generated by the killings lingered long after the murders ceased, with many residents remembering the time as one of heightened vigilance and suspicion. The case also had significant implications for law enforcement practices in Hawaii. The Honolulu Police Department faced criticism for their handling of the investigation, leading to changes in how serial crimes were approached. The need for better coordination, more sophisticated forensic techniques, and improved community relations became evident. Advances in forensic science. In the years since the Honolulu Strangler case, advances in forensic science have transformed the landscape of criminal investigations. DNA profiling, which was in its infancy during the 1980s, has since become a crucial tool in solving cold cases. There is hope that the evidence collected from the Strangler's crime scenes could one day be re-examined using modern technology to identify the killer. Several cold cases around the world have been solved decades later thanks to advancements in DNA technology and databases that can link suspects to crimes through genetic material left at the scene. While the Honolulu Strangler case remains officially unsolved, there is optimism that these technological advancements could eventually bring justice to the victims and closure to their families. The quest for justice. The families of the victims have not given up hope for justice. They continue to advocate for the case to be revisited and for new technologies to be applied to the existing evidence. The Honolulu Police Department has periodically reviewed the case, and public interest has kept the memory of the victims alive. The Hawaii State Legislature has also been urged to allocate resources to re-examine unsolved cases, including the Honolulu Strangler murders. There is a collective desire within the community and among law enforcement to resolve this dark chapter and bring the perpetrator to justice. Reflection on the psychological impact. The psychological impact of the Honolulu Strangler case on the community cannot be overstated. The fear instilled by the knowledge that a serial killer was operating in their midst led to changes in behavior and heightened anxiety. Women, in particular, were advised to avoid going out alone at night, and many residents took extra precautions to secure their homes. This atmosphere of fear had a lasting effect on the collective psyche of the community. The sense of vulnerability and the breakdown of trust in the safety of their environment were profound. These psychological scars remained long after the immediate threat had passed, influencing the community's outlook on personal safety and public security. The role of media and public perception. The media played a significant role in shaping public perception of the Honolulu Strangler case. The extensive coverage brought national attention to the murders, turning the case into a media sensation. While this helped keep the public informed, it also led to sensationalism and the spread of misinformation. The media's portrayal of the case influenced public opinion and added pressure on the police to solve the murders quickly. This intense scrutiny sometimes led to missteps in the investigation and fueled public frustration when progress seemed slow. The case highlighted the delicate balance between keeping the public informed and maintaining the integrity of a criminal investigation. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the chilling case of the Honolulu Strangler, Hawaii's first known serial killer. This case remains a haunting reminder of the dark side of paradise and the enduring quest for justice. If you found this video informative, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave a comment below with your thoughts on the case. We love hearing from you and value your input.